ReZero, Season 2, Episode 14. Back to getting laid out by Otto. Yes. Right.
手を差し伸べなきゃいけないところばっかりで自分じゃ腕も頭も力も足りなくて
True, it's all true.
バタバタと時間だけが過ぎるのに必死になってるんでしょ
100%. And a lot of dying in the meantime. A lot of pain.
返事しろよ
Is the violence necessary, though?
血が頭に情けないそうかよ
I didn't know Otto was such a beast. Subaru himself is grappling master. Otto makes it look so easy. Subaru just not focused. Otto's right.
惚れた女の前でカッコつけるのは結構ですよ自分を好いてくれる女の子に格好をつけるこれも許しましょうでもですね
Not for your bros. Don't lie to your bros. The other part about that is that a lot of times your friends know. You're making it obvious that you're suffering, and you're creating a gap. I think a lot of the time, true to Subaru's accused archbishop nature, it's pride. You want your friends to hold you in high esteem, and so you don't want them to know you're suffering or dealing with a setback, that you're not infallible. But like, they already know that. Probably.
なら誰かの手を借りたらいいじゃないですか例えば友達とか
Otto and his friendship arc.
助けだって求めたでもダメだった
I wouldn't read too much into the Echidna thing. I don't know.
僕はまだ夏希さんに
I also don't know if I would call Echidna a friend.
頭の中がめちゃくちゃで
That's fair,
話しても
yeah.
信じてもらえねえようなことばっかりで
And I also can't tell you a lot of it.
あのごちゃごちゃを全部話せ
There are logistical challenges to this,
信じろ
admittedly.
っていやいいんですよ
The return by
友
death
達
thing.
なんだから
Yeah. Logistics aside, I think Otto's right, especially as somebody who acutely understands the phenomenon of having your head wrapped up in knots. People who are really attached to thinking as a way of getting through things, when their thinking gets compromised, their immediate go-to for a solution, because that's what they know, is to think their way through it. But your tools are compromised. I mean, I think it's possible. I think you can, but it's so treacherous. It's kind of like quitting an addiction. You can quit an addiction, but what you don't anticipate is that the thoughts and the will with which you decided to quit in the first place end up betraying you later when the withdrawal truly sets in, because the thoughts are not emerging and perhaps never really emerged from absolutely pure logical reason. It came from a desire somewhere. And so the very same brain that told you it would be a good idea and it was important to quit the thing will then tell you with what feels like the same level of vibrancy that you should start it again. I think that's similar to that kind of like hell of overthinking. And yeah, you can get yourself through it, but there's also maybe a much easier way, which is just to anchor something that is not subject to the whims of your perspective and your conception of the problem. You need to touch a rock, something that you can't maneuver with your mind as easily. And one of the best sources of that for matters that pertain to the human heart is other people. It's also experience, right? You can think your way through any problem in your head. It's easy. I've studied this. I've read about this. You just do X, Y, Z, and then boom, this thing happens. And then it's a totally different story when you actually try to do the thing you thought was easy, because you're connecting to something more grounded than your imagination, which is incomplete.
信じてもらえねえかもしれないんだけど
Dawn is breaking. I think Otto will believe. Oh, we have a renewed vigor. Huh? Interesting. What are we wishing for exactly?
やり直せることと救えることは話が別だ俺もお前も思い上がってた
Interesting.
俺のこれはそんなに便利なもんじゃない
Yeah, I feel that acutely now.
俺の要求は簡単だ俺が聖域と屋敷両方とも救ったら
Russell's shocked that anybody would think his promises mean anything. So it was graciously pointed out to me that thankfully Roswaal doesn't know what Subaru's trigger is, which is why he put the stomp to him. That is really, really good news for Subaru. But yeah, the return by death doesn't seem as great with the question of the alternate timelines, though it's not confirmed. Just even having that thought kind of changed my perspective a bit, because even if it isn't the case, it just put it into perspective that it's a much larger world than Subaru and Emilia. There's only so far that Return by Death goes in that regard. It only carries forth in terms of some kind of directed plan in a very, very tight proximity to Subaru moment to moment. It also, I think, is Subaru catching up with something I've been thinking from the beginning, which is we don't know exactly what future we're moving towards and what actually good is here. My predictions were subverted by Emilia saying she wanted to rescue Subaru, that it was for Subaru. But it's still true that it's going to be very hard to assess the final intended outcome from where we're standing now. There's just too many links. And we're not fully sorted out yet in terms of our emotional aim, our life philosophy. That is something that develops along the way through experience and through reflection. So the material manipulation of events is kind of secondary to that pursuit, even if the material also is very significant and important. After I posted the last episode, I found out about the alternate path where he accepts the Echidna route, and that didn't turn out very well. Though from what I've heard, it still doesn't really sound like it's much of Echidna's fault. It seems like a personal choice for Subaru because of how compromised he is, which could be the case for any path with or without Echidna. But it does establish established that like going forward in time, doing this and this along the way that seems good doesn't necessarily even guarantee a great outcome.
エミリアを王様にする。そのためにはお前の力が必要だ。
This is very bold and kind of cool, you know. I'll save you too.
その提案はあまりに歪だ。
It's absurd, that's why I like it.
許す許さないの話になるなら、俺は絶対にお前を許さない。でもそれは俺の心の問題だ。
He's shocked. Rightly so.
そんな都合のいい話はないだろう。
都合のいい話大好きだぜ、俺。エミリアが頑張
There
る。
are certain things where it crosses the point.
俺がそれを隣で
Ridiculous things become inspiring and amazing.
自分の望みを達成する。その上で私すら必要だと取り込み、未来のための礎に加
He
え
can't
る
wrap
と。
his head around it.
分かっているかい、スバル君。
何を。
それが一体どれほど。
Yes, we didn't make the contract with Echidna, but you know, she's still with us. It's so diabolical, you gotta love it.
君がどれだけあがこうと事態の打開は叶わない。エミリア様は立てず。
I think Roswell's getting pissed that someone's outcrazying him.
なるほど。君の言う通り。公認の私のために何かしておくのも悪くない。
そりゃ話に乗ってくると取っていいんだな。
There's something actually really inspiring about Roswell too. That idea, it doesn't need the time weirdness thing to be real. Like I said in that reveal, it gets really dicey when you try to define what yourself is. It's not a fixed point or state. And of course, there's a balance to strike between the you right now, which is all you have, and the future you. But the ability to sacrifice for the future you is a powerful thing. Roswell is that to the extreme, it seems.
調子が狂うからまたピエロの化粧しろよ。運命に翻弄さ
Oh,
れ
he
る
looks
ピエロ同
pissed.
士。正々堂々やろうぜ。
Yeah, you clown. Straight bet. That title.
だからラムの心変わりに期待するのはやめなさい。
Bye,
絶
Felicia.
対なんてありえねえよ。
口を慎みなさい。
Sparrow's a better man than me.
つまずく理由に気づけずにいるのよ。それが分からなければ繰り返
Right,
すだけに。
yeah. There's no point just doing the same thing again and again and expecting different results.
アドバイスしてくれるなんて、あいつも俺のこと好きなのかな。
Yeah, in her
何
way.
言ってんですかそれ。
She'll never admit it though.
本人に聞かれたらすごい怒られますよ。
Were you disguising yourself as a tree?
賭けは成立したぜ。
それはよかった。まあ辺境博は負けたご経験がなさそうですから。
Yeah, he's
持っ
rattled.
てくるとは思いましたよ。
I think it's the first time we've seen him rattled, and he got eaten by rabbits that one time.
ガーフィールだな。
Ugh, Garfield. I can't hate him anymore after he sacrificed himself to save Ram, but
エミリア様の傷に触れる覚悟はできたので。
is she?
触っていいかって聞く覚悟はな。ガーフィールと違って死ぬ心配はねえから。
Got a cycle of listening going on.
お前も分の悪い賭けに乗るもんだ。
そうですね。賞賛度外視で勝ち目のない方に乗っかるのは
That's what makes it fun.
これが初めてです。
Obvious bets are no fun. What's the point? Just to fleece the other person? No, you want to impress.
それこそ使徒の権限で協力させたらどうじゃ。
指揮権頼りにはしたくない。俺はリュウズさんと話しに来たんだ。
男児はすぐ格好つけたがるものじゃな。
Well, if you're trying to impress a girl you like, it's acceptable.
じゃがその疑いがすっとんきょうとも言い切れん。
Well, she has a lot to protect
ス
here.
ーボーはガーボーをどう思っておる？
Not that high, to be honest.
あいつとぶつかるのは避けられない。
That's a nicer way to put it.
それが済んだ後、仲良くできるかできないかは終わってみないとわかんねえな。
Sparrow, a better man than me.
わしのことは魔女様に聞いたのじゃろ。このリューズメイヤルの複製体であることや。
I miss Echidna. It's been so long since we've seen her.
俺の名前は夏木スバル。リュウズさん、あんたの名前は？
What is your beverage of choice?
マナは活動に応じて消耗し、丸一日活動しきることは到底できん。
そうか、精霊と同じ
Interesting.
で。
Like the
だから
synthetic
交代制で役
spirits.
目を果たしてきたのか。けど、納得してんのか？
I mean, it's just her life, right?
およそ10年前、問題を起こしてな。以来、監督者の役割を外れ、他の複製体と同じく森に潜んでおる。
That's crazy. Being split.
創造主である魔女との制約に逆らい、墓所に立ち入った。
I mean, from what we've learned about Echidna, the contract doesn't really mean a whole lot. Echidna's contracts are more like suggestions. Why don't you stay in this library for 400 years?
スーボーは、ガーボーの家族のことは知っておるのかい？
No, and I'm sure this is where it gets a lot more sympathetic.
私はおそらく作りたかったんですわ。いずれ結界が解かれた時、聖域の住人が外の世界に踏み出すきっかけ、居場所
Paving the way.
でしょうか。
Assuming that's the truth, that's a gut-wrenching decision. That's the kind of scenario where you wonder if you're doing the right thing continuously until you experience some success.
あいつが聖域の解放を拒むのは自分を捨てて外を選んだ母親への負の感情が原因なのか。
あの子は自分のことをガーフィール・ティンゼルと名乗る。あの子の母親の家名じゃ。
So what then? Okay, it's time to understand Garfield better.
寝相が悪くて。ごめん、嘘。本当はちょっと寝つけなくて。
She's worn out. She's the kind of worn out that prevents you from sleeping.
エミリアタン、怠惰ですね。
その言い方、なんだかすごく変な気分。スバルの意地悪。
To use that as a joke.
君が試練で何を見たのか、俺に話してくれる気はあるか。話して楽になるなんて気休めは言わない。
You also can't force it out of her.
話してくれれば一緒に悩める。
That's nice. Yeah, this is great.
スバルは私のことを信じてくれて。
They're giving it to each other in a weird way through timelines maybe.
私がずっと氷の中にいたこと、スバルに話したことなかったよね。
Subaru never saw the OVA.
森が凍るまではみんなで暮らしてたはずで。
はず？
その前のことはあまり覚えてないの。
It's possible she froze them.
どうして森のことと応戦に関係が？
ロスワールが約束してくれたの。
That's where you went wrong. That's what it was. That was their union.
軽蔑する？他の候補者の人たちはみんな立派な目標とか覚悟があって応戦に参加してるのに。
Are they?
私の理由はすごく
Some of them are.
個人的で。
それが君が言ってた自分勝手な理由って。
It's very unselfish. Someone like Amelia would think it was selfish. She has such low feelings of self-worth. I think they're very similar in this way. The good news for them is that the rock you're leaning on doesn't have to be perfect. There can be a back and forth feedback thing, which also can go terribly wrong. I mean, I think it depends on the overall spirit. So if two people are just not that well prepared for what they're going through, or maybe one is just abysmal, that can make things worse, right? A lot of the things that make me worry about Savar actually with other people are that very mistake. It's trying to overextend help where you don't really have the strength to help and you risk doing more damage. But with Amelia and Subaru, I think they're both great at heart. They can get there eventually. Even if it's through time.
大切な人たちを助けたいって動機は悪いなんてことはないし、
Right, of course.
助かる人間の多い少ないでやることの立派さは薄れないよ。
Agreed.
エミリア。
Yeah, she's wiped. He actually made her get up and put her in bed. Some people would just have stayed there in that position waiting. Like what we just saw with Otto, I think. A lot of it might not even be the logistical support or directly solving her problems for her, but just helping her get to a position of better mental fortitude so she can do it on her own.
エミリアが思い出せなくても知ってるやつに聞けば。
Yeah, but Puck is not here.
ごめんな、エミリア。
Oh, this is dirty. Puck had to pause that fight with the fire horse.
消しておく？
気軽に消すとか言うな。それとエミリアタンが悲しんでるぞ。
We could use your help. I know you're doing something very important, but...
でもよく呼び出してくれたね。僕は嬉しいよ、スバル。
That's especially terrible to be carrying all this stuff that you don't even remember. You can't even look at it.
よかった。どこにいてたの？心配したんだから。もう勝手にいなくなったりしないで。
I also don't know the details on this, but I think, gut feeling, Puck should just tell her everything.
話せなかったのは僕の個人的な事情とリア自身の問題。だけどこれからは。
Full honesty? Oh. Oh, maybe this is good. I don't know.
ごめんねリア。本当はちゃんと説明してあげたいのに
What? What?
時間がないや。
This is a big move.
君と
Trust in
僕
Puck,
と
I
の
guess.
契約を破棄する。一方的で本当にごめんね。僕が
Do contracts even mean anything in this world?
記憶の蓋が外れるよ。そこできっとリアはたくさん悲
Oh,
し
it's
い
key to
思いを
unlock
す
her
る。
memories. There's a lot of symbolism here. It's like the protecting doing more harm than good, even though your intentions are good.
すごく愛してる。
Love is not always kindness.
君を世界で一番
I believe him.
愛してる。
That's actually where it's coming from with the whole truth thing. This is going to be rough. This is now a real life trial. If you just get all those memories at once, whatever you've been avoiding.
それで取り乱して墓所への挑戦を見送られちゃ世話ねえな。
Garf always so likable.
わしが話したことではあるが、スーボーに魔女と関わりがあるようには見えん。
どうだかな。よぼよぼババアはとっとと寝ちまえ。
Does he have any friends?
朝には大丈夫になってるって思いたいの。
Yeah, memories plus loss of Puck.
大した手じゃねえけど、何でも貸すよ。お、エミリア。
Also, as always, as nice as this is,
ここにいてくれ
there's
る。
always danger.
そうしたらきっと私はごめんね。ごめんね。お願い。
There's nowhere he would rather be anyway.
明日になればだ。俺は信じてるよ。
You sleep in the chair. Oh no! On the stool.
優しい嘘をついたみんなを嫌いにならないで。エミリア、あなたのことすごく愛してる。
People just been kind lying to her whole life.
フォルトナ母様の嘘つき、パックの嘘つき、スバルの嘘つき。
Zabar didn't leave, did he? He's not there? Oh no, the empty stool. Oh, that's terrible. At a moment like this, you gotta stay, man. I know you got important things to do and all. If you promise to stay the whole night, you gotta stay the whole night. She's in a moment of extreme vulnerability. People gotta stop managing Amelia, man. They tell her she should have faith in herself and that she can do anything and be strong. But then their actions don't demonstrate that faith or respect for her. The danger here, I think, is an extreme version of what we've seen from a bunch of characters. Of like, the lie is broken and you're faced with the ugliness of the truth. And so your first instinct is to grab hold of another lie. The truth has to be faced eventually, and the role of support is something like strength and objective connection to things outside of your mental loops, not salvation. Salvation of this kind, I think, can only be internal. And every time that cycle happens, every time that next level of trust is broken, I imagine it's tougher and tougher to not just seek out a new one, because you've also habitualized it. And also you're facing more pain than before. It's harder to deal with. Though it's dangerous, I think there is a potential failsafe there, though, where you just get burned so many times, you wake up to the fact that no one is coming to save you. There are other ways to seek things bigger, higher, more objective than other people.
エミリア様。
Oh, she ran away.
ラム、何の騒ぎだ。
She fled. Maybe she went to the trial.
ババア。ババア。
Garfield lost the only person who would put up with him.
まさかあいつら。ババが。
ご期待に添えなくて申し訳ありませんが、
Otto's revenge.
早くなのは承知の上で出張らせてもらいました。本当はここで話し合いにするつもりだったんですよ。すでにあれこれ悪巧みしてしまった後だったので、宴の主催者が不在の間、代役などはいかがでしょう。
Scary.
ああ、よかった。やっと見つけた。
Where were you? What have you been doing?
じゃあ話をしようか。エミリアタン。
I know he had a great reason. There's only so much time. I guess he just got unlucky that you woke up. He probably planned to come back, but that was not great timing. I mean, honestly, yeah, putting it that way, we have more important things to do. But I guess he didn't need to make the promise then. Maybe there's a part of the plan I don't understand yet.